It's almost like I'm in a modality of heaven right now. All right, so we are in McGregor, Minnesota at Savanna Portage State Park. We're just exiting the group campsite off Savannah Lake, and we're gonna pop on the Continental Divide Trail. We may or may not take a look or try to take a look at some backpack sites. All of them are occupied, allegedly. This is my planned hike, the orange area. Kind of want to check out the Beaver Pond Trail down further down south end. It's kind of the end part down there, then we'll work our way back up here. I got a camp here tonight, in the group camp. I didn't really like reserving a group camp just for myself, but my originally planned camp at Schoolcraft State Park became flooded with camp neighbors, and it would have been a nightmare. And I'm not going out like that in August 2025 for my last camp trip. We're gonna have a good one, and that's just the way it's gonna be. Even if it costs me 5 hours worth of work, hard work. So we should have a turnoff for a trail up to the right up here. It's about 74 degrees right now. It's essentially perfect weather. And this is one of the larger state parks in Minnesota. There's a whole western, southwestern portion of the park we're not even gonna touch. So a lot of the park's area is in that area. Looks like we have trail parking here. And the Continental Divide and scenic overlook is this way. This is also hiking club trail. So if you can guess the password, go for it. Right here. So our planned hike today is essentially this way. But I'm tempted to check out, we might look at Condi because we're going to be right by it, his backpack site. We're actually right near it right now. And then Wolf, this is one I really want to look at. But this would require going out of our way. 1.1, so 2.2 miles. And then site G. And maybe site D. So all those are, Condi, G, and D are practical deviations for our pre-planned hike. Wolf is out of the way, and K is out of the way. So, oh, and here's that lower, or that western, southwestern portion of the park I just mentioned a moment ago. And there's also a Savanna Portage trail. Ooh, looks like there's a Port A backpack site way up here. So that's on the docket for the future goals. Not this time, but that looks like a fun one. That's almost more interesting than the Wolf one to me. If we can complete this hike in under 3 hours, that'd be ideal. I'm planning on doing a new chest rig dress up video at camp, so I'm probably gonna need about an hour for that. It may not happen, that's okay. So I've been to this state park 3 different times. The first time was a scout of the main campground. The second time was a hike. Actually, I'm sorry, the second time was a camp in the main campground. That happened last October 2024. And this time, this third time, it's a scout of the group camp. It's a hike, potentially scouts of some of the backpacks, and a camp. So I don't plan on doing an extensive camp video on this one, although I could. I just don't plan on doing it on this one. We'll see. Okay, so we definitely want to go this way based on our plan. We'll be going the totally wrong direction that way. This is the Avenza Maps app, by the way. If you ever hike in a state park in Minnesota and you have a phone, you should use it. Doesn't take much expertise to figure out how to use it, and it's a game changer. There were several times where if I didn't have it, I would have ended up in somebody's farm, backyard, behind a state park somewhere. As far as camping and scouting and hiking goes, August has been a phenomenal month for me this year. So we're trying to end it with a bang. Our last little trip, while we're still able to get out and do stuff like this. And once we come back around with our planned hike, if it goes as planned, we'll be walking back this way on this same trail to end it out. This is kind of an intersection where we're gonna go one way now, this way I believe. And when we finish the hike, we're gonna come back out this side over here. I'm not noticing any backpack site over here. This is Condi though. Number 2. The old schoolhouse trail is where we're going to come back on. I just want to peek over here real quick, because if there is a backpack site and I can look at it now, great, because it might be occupied by the time we finish the hike. I'm not seeing nothing though. Sometimes when I turn around, it was just there sometimes. All right, I'm gonna call it. So we're gonna hop on the Continental Divide Trail. And there's a scenic overlook as well. So my last camp last weekend was at Interstate State Park in Taylor's Falls, Minnesota. That was a really, really good hike and a good camp trip. Even did a food review there. That was at site 23. I camped. It's probably the best site in their campground there. And I scouted the group camp there too, which they have about 4 group campsites. And I would not recommend any of those group campsites, just because of how they're arranged and how close they are to each other. But the group camp here, I would highly recommend it. It's a little bit of an incline here. You know, doing this without a 65-pound ruck though, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Well, it's something, but do got some breathing issues. Probably got about 20 years worth of smoking in me in my life total. Maybe 15 off and on. So in a couple weeks, the fall colors are really going to start kicking in. You can actually see them starting now, the end of August. So the middle of September through the middle of October is probably the best time of year in Minnesota, in my opinion, as far as seasons go and environment. Second to that would probably be the month of May. Second week of May to the second week of June. All right. It is difficult to see out there. We'll work on that a little here. And some knowledge. Says the ridge we are standing on is a continental divide. And a divide is a height of land separating water flows. I'll put the literature in there, and you can just pause it if interested. All right, here we go. Here we go, everybody. Here we go. Now we know. Now we know. Now we know. Hope everybody's proud of yourselves now that we know. Ugh. So not to poo-poo it, but that outlook wasn't what I was kind of expecting it to be. In comparison, there are several outlooks at Great River Bluffs State Park in southeastern Minnesota. Those are pretty phenomenal. And there's like 4 or 5 of them. All of them phenomenal. So, well, just a fun fact. But here there was a lot of trees and bush. So when some of that, the leaves fall in the fall, might be able to see a little bit more out there. Kind of bad. Kind of bad. It's here though. I don't think anyone has used this one though. You know, just looking at that and seeing that there's no toilet paper, I was just thinking if I really had to use it, you know, the number 2, how much I'd be kicking myself for not bringing a small roll of toilet paper. And I did bring something, but yeah, that's pushing it. That's like Garth from Wayne's World. He was like, if you're gonna spew into this. He pulled out this little cup. Alright, so we're just going to keep a steady pace on this trail. We're not going to dawdle too much. Try to make sure we make good time. And the bugs are not, they're almost not even existing right now, which is very nice. They were pretty rough in July and early August. They were really bad at Scenic State Park, which I'm not kicking that park for it, but just when I happened to be there at that time. I'm pretty far behind on my footage for editing, but I got to hike a Scenic State Park I'm going to be editing probably in a couple weeks. Maybe 1 week. Ooh, American Spike Nerd. Nice. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. You know, this is kind of like a road trail, and I was poo-pooing those a little bit at Scenic, but even though this is a road-like, it still has more of a trail feeling to it. It's not quite as wide. It's a little more hunkered in. You know, originally I was planning on doing a hike at Schoolcraft State Park, which is one of the smaller state parks in Minnesota. But I ended up making a 24-hour decision to bail on that one, even though I wouldn't get a refund, and book the group camp here because it was the only campsite open here, and it costs over $60. So all in all, I'm out like $90 for the cancellation of Schoolcraft and for the booking of the group camp here. But that's the choice I made. It was too crowded at Schoolcraft. It was going to be crazy. And I know those campsites. I did a scout of Schoolcraft. I think the site I chose was 25. And it was wide open. Everything was open. Usually that campground isn't too popular, but it really filled in. And the site I was most worried about being occupied was site 11, and that's the one that would have been directly behind me. We would have been in each other's laps. And it wasn't just them. There was 2 other sites to the left and the right of me in addition. And that is a small campground. So you just hear dogs and kids, and it was just... I try to get away from the city when I do this, so... I don't like to be super alone, but I don't want to just be surrounded by like multi-family and just kind of a different person. And it's not really what I look for. I just got sensitive hearing. It's pretty bad. But both my grandfathers had kind of sensitive hearing. I remember being a kind of a loud, obnoxious kid, and my grandfather on my father's side, I remember him just cringing, almost in pain. He'd look at me like he was in pain when I like make certain sounds, and I feel like I'm getting payback for that now. Although I didn't do it for many years. I didn't do it for over half a decade. It's just fun to talk about stuff. Well, still moving along this Continental Divide Trail. Very nice out. It's a nice breeze. And I am sweating like I always would be, but I'm not totally soaked. which I can deal with that, but it's just kind of nice, you know. You just feel a little more comfortable. But sometimes you got to be able to throw comfort out the window. Unless it's screaming children, then you have to flee. The dogs, though, that's the big one. The barking dogs. That's probably the worst annoyance in campgrounds. So we are going down quite a bit. It's not really steep, but you can definitely notice that you're going down. And oftentimes that can mean you're gonna have to go back up. At Interstate though, I got kind of lucky. The route that I took, where I ended up going down all the stairs, but I never really went up. It was really strange. It was kind of like one of those weird psychological pictures where you see the stairway, but the stairway, it keeps going down even though it looks like it's going up. I forget what those are called, like a paradox picture or something like that. It was a lot like that in real life. You could check out that hike and see the route that I took. I would recommend you take that route if you ever go there to Interstate State Park. Take the route that I hiked. This is pretty cool. So this is a Mosquitoville right here. And mud, you have to be very careful. So this mud could get serious. And I keep my boots loose so I can slip them on and off so my foot can come out really easily. That happened to me at Killen Woods State Park. So it reminds me of the Swamp of Sadness from the Never Ending Story. I think the Never Ending Story is kind of a good metaphor for our life as immortal spiritual beings throughout all lives, realities, and existences. And the Swamp of Sadness is pain, apathy, sadness. Okay. All right, so I thought we might have been right here. Really, we're right there? It doesn't look like it. Wolf Lake is a different, my map is different here than it is here. That might be hard to see. So this might take you to Wolf Lake, but it's pretty grown in. It might be just some kind of access road, or it might not be. It might be swampland. But I'm not going to trust this one I am tempted to check that Wolf Lake trail out and that backpack site out, and we probably will, though I didn't bring any water, but I do have a Noka, which is a protein shake pouch, or a protein smoothie pouch. You know, the boots that I'm wearing, they have a tall enough height, shaft and heel height, over 6 inches, and my pants are long enough, 34 inches, so based on my experience in iterative improvement, that should check all the boxes for them not coming up. But I still have to put the pant leg over the boots, so it has something to do with my strides. There's some kind of insect here, some kind of dragonfly. I'm gonna see if I can capture it. I said meadowhawks. I think that was the genus. Yeah, that was the genus. Yeah, almost a species. That Seek app that I just used, I would highly recommend that. That's another staple. That doesn't even cost money. Well, neither does the Avenza Maps app or the Merlin Bird ID app. All three of those, I would highly recommend you use those if you have a phone. You know, I seen it was Continental Divide Trail. I was kind of envisioning it to be a little bit more like the Rocky area, kind of by Banning State Park waterfall. But it's just really bushy, which is fine. I'm just saying, but luckily the insects have not been bad. Otherwise this would be a little bit more brutal, because the scenery isn't all that, and I'm not complaining. It is beautiful here. I'm just saying, and I might be getting a little bit more greedy. My criteria for scenery might slowly be rising, that threshold rising. The more beautiful places I see and go to, but always remember, standing in the middle of the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, always compare it to that. Wherever you are, compare it to that. All right, here comes some action now. Remember when I was a kid, I was trying to pronounce that word, and I remember pronouncing it Cayusian, trying to spell it out. Then I saw a cartoon one day, And the guy in the cartoon looked up at his sign, he was like, "Caution!" And that's how I learned it. I shared that before on during my hike at Nurse Strand Big Woods State Park this year, 2025. I took a hike at the southern portion of the park there, towards the prairie area. It's kind of a mixture of woodland and prairie. It's really nice. It's close to the cities too, so I'd recommend that if you don't get out much and you're thinking about it. Watch for sand. Getting sand in the boot is really annoying, and in the socks. I'm sure putting a tent on like hot sand on a beach you'd sleep pretty good. Although I'm not sure because I haven't done it yet. The catch is you're gonna get sand in the tent, and sand is messy. I'd almost rather deal with mud than sand. We're at the part of the trail that's meandering. And right down here. Hear my EDC supplies clanging together in my pocket. I gotta hunker them in. That's one source of annoying sounds that I've been detecting when I edit the videos. I thought there was just a few places where the sound was coming from, but with all the carabiners I got and the gear, and it actually comes from several different spots. So I've isolated most of them. Probably all of them almost. I got little techniques for mitigating them. You know, I still hear it clanging a little. Just give it another round. That should get it to shut up. Okay. I like when they're kind of like root steps. Those are always cool. I had a few of them this year where it was almost like a root staircase, and there was rock staircases. Yeah, interstate. That hike ended up being a lot more cool than I was expecting. That silhouette of me reminded me of a song called "Here I Am" by Mike Marine. I really love that song. He's got another one called "Cecilia." Those songs are phenomenal, and I'm pretty sure nobody knows about them. Well, one person's song is another person's piss vomit. One day all of my rhetoric and my ego will wither away. But hopefully all that was good will carry on somehow. That chipmunk sounded like it just said it will. Here I am. There's another song by I think it's the Scorpions, Rock You Like a Hurricane. That's another one. It goes, here I am. That's a phenomenal song too. Different kind of genre though. They're really into that one eye symbolism, special buddy club BS. Scorpions. They did one song called Woman, I think it's called Woman. And it was like the lead singer, like he was all bald in that video, and they're doing symbolism. And there's a part where he's just like in a weird robe at a Eyes Wide Shut party, and he had weird makeup on his face, and he's like, woman. He looked like an idiot midget troll. I'm like, man, just shut up, man. Just sing Here I Am. I liked him better when he was balding. I really like this green. I think it's moss. I saw a lot of this on the rocks at Interstate. It's really cool. All right, so we're approaching this intersection here where the Wolf Lake Trail will be to our left. But I'm thinking if I shut my mouth and just press on, we can make it feasible. We can make it practical. We can take a look. It might be occupied though. But even still, we'd still get a reasonable scout of the hike in, you know? Something about scouting campsites. It's like I went years not knowing what I wanted to do. I did nothing, and I kind of found something I like to do again. Scouting campsites. And I can share it with other people, and it's useful. I know I've helped at least 5 other people, so mission already accomplished. Everything else is just gravy atop the taters. Okay, this is a serious decisioning. So that the Continental Divide Trail continues that way, and I didn't plan on going that way. I plan on cutting right here, going this way. But we can look. This is the Savanna Portage Trail right here. But I want to look at the Wolf Lake. It's 1.1 miles. We're just gonna press on and go for it. Here we go. And I give it a 70% chance it's occupied. I'm just gonna do a brisk walk, stay focused. Yeah, so just sit back, relax. let me do the walk-in. I'm moving brisk, so I might breathe a little heavier. I'll do my best to keep it down. I hate the sound of breathing. I'm gonna see if I can hear people in the distance too. Oh yeah, we're on the trail. That might get swampy in there. See, that was a mild distraction. Didn't seem like much, did it? Those add up. I'm hearing a jet airplane, a commercial airplane. Pretty high altitude though. But yeah, I like to call those out sometimes when I hear them. This trail is one way in, one way out. So we're gonna have to backtrack. This is a 2.2 mile detour. Unless we're able to actually scout the site, it'd be about 2.5 miles total round trip detour. We're about 1/4 the way through. and I do not have any service here. So note the fact that my GPS still shows up on the Avenza Maps app. That's an important call out. It's a crucial app to have. Boot uncuffed again. I might have to come up with a way to shock cord it down or something. About halfway. So I definitely wouldn't want to have to do this trail twice. Like sometimes I'll hike in my gear, I'll come back and I'll ruck in my wood. I wouldn't want to do this one twice. Once in and then once out for a camp. You still got to walk from wherever the parking area is on top of where we were. 65, 70% in. It was probably greedy to make this kind of a detour that goes this long. But I'm feeling ambitious. I'm giving it a go. Not sure what this is all about. Cool boardwalk. Mosquitoes are getting crazier, probably because I'm sweating more. This boardwalk's kind of sketchy. Boards are pretty loose. We're kind of near to the site, so these would actually create noise. You can hear someone coming. Wow. That boy really loose. Wow. Ooh. This is insane. Absolutely insane. It's almost like a trampoline. Oh, we're almost there. We are almost there. Oh my God. Let's see if we can hear anything. Wow, look at all that wood. Wow. Oh, we made it, guys. Well, answers that question. Violation of 6100.0900 subpart 1. Cutting live trees prohibited. Live trees, though. It is permitted to scrounge for dead downwood. Do not peel bark or drive nails or damage trees. Wow. So if they don't have firewood here, and they provide it, it sounds like they try to, you can scrounge for wood that's fallen. Oh, this is insanely awesome. This is Wolf 1 off of Wolf Lake. Copy. Did it, guys. Look at it. I call girls guys too, guys. Wow. That's Wolf Lake. There's a watercraft site too. Wow. So bring your own birch, bring a stick of fat wood, bring a ferrocerium rod. You can scrounge for this kind of stuff if there's no wood in there. Wow, we made it to Wolf 1. You can put a tent right here, obviously. Tent here. Now, this would be a good Halloween one. Not too bad. They got a little container with the toilet paper in it. Nice. Backpack campers. Okay. Oh, it's a little bit of a hike in, but it's secluded. The only risk I could see is if, when I was at Charles A. Lindbergh State Park, I reserved both of the garden/water sites, and when I got there, people were coming off of the water with their boat, and they're starting to build up one of the sites. They're getting ready to make camp, and I had to kick them out, and they were responsive. But if you encounter someone here in a similar situation and they're not responsive, might turn into a big deal. There's no service here, no SOS. So unless, depending on the type of person you are, or the type of person they are, other than that, not kind of sure what animals would be here. Maybe wolves, maybe, as far as biggest threats. Maybe some bears. Probably. There have been bears at St. Croix State Park, and this is further north center. Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. Wow. We got a scout in, a wolf one. Lake Shumway is where the main campground is. So we got to make up some time. I really should jog, but I'll sweat too much and I'll get too dehydrated. So I'm just gonna have to move at a quick pace. And we get a look at everything from this side on the way back. Yeah, so we'll continue this until we reach the entry point of this trail. So I really hope this helped. It's kind of nice to see what's in here. It's nice knowing that you wouldn't have to bring in any wood either. Just make sure you got some kind of a saw, like a silky gomboy, at least a medium size. Make sure you got a knife, maybe a mora. Maybe bring in your own birch bark, just a little bit, and a little stick of fat wood. You know, ferrocerium rod. And you wouldn't have to ruck in wood or cart in wood or nothing. Because if the wood ain't already here, you can salvage what's on the ground. Oh, something like this though, you're gonna want a large silky gomboy, or even a big boy, or something that big. A medium-sized one won't. It'd be difficult, something that big. But if you can only bring one, the medium size, I'd recommend the medium size silky Outback. I got one of those, not on me, but I'll show you what it looks like. It costs a little bit more than the regular one, but I'd recommend it. It's only like $10 more or something. I don't recommend you use the case it comes in though. It's a clangy, cheap piece of plastic. So you don't want your own kind of a cloth case or store it in your ruck. I think the bigger silky Outback, I don't think they make a big boy silky Outback, but they make a bigger silky Outback, larger than the medium, smaller than the big boy. I think that one comes actually with a nice case. It's not a cheap piece of plastic that makes loud noises, clangs. It's all loose inside of it, jiggles. That's ridiculous. They should give you a nylon case. All right, just watch out for the sketched out boards. Yeah, so this is the backpack / water canoeing site, Wolf 1, at Savanna Portage State Park in McGregor, Minnesota. And this is a unique one. I really like it. It's not really resonating with me to the point where I'm like, you're definitely doing this one day. It's not resonating on that level for me personally. But this is still a very cool, very interesting one. I'm really glad I got to see it. Proud too. Proud I was able to make the move to check this out, detour off the planned path, which we're already going to be running low on daylight now. to finish out the rest of our hike and potentially check out some other backpack sites, which might be a little too ambitious at this point. But yeah, we're gonna, when we get to the end of this trail, we're gonna resume our hike that we began leading up to this on the Continental Divide Trail. I think we're gonna finish that out, the Continental Divide Trail. Be careful if you're walking this boardwalk with two people, because you'll step on one side and it'll push a board up on the other side, and someone could walk right into that. So be very careful if you're walking this boardwalk with multiple people. That's a very important call out. You don't want anything to go wrong on this trail, or this backpack, so you don't want anything to go wrong. Now, it did look like it was reserved, so it's either blocked out or the residents haven't entered camp yet. They may be entering through boat. So I guess there's different places you could park your vehicle to get here. So I'm not going to include those locations in this scout. This is just the trail in and the site itself. And I'll provide a map, of course. But there's two people I want to call out, actually. So if they're watching and this looked interesting to you, and it looked like it's something you might be interested in, I would encourage Stinkleberry Farmer and Sally Suntala. Check this site out. Do a video of this site. And it may not be interesting to you, I get it. Might just get an excuse to call you out and say thank you for your inspiration, and in a way, your partnership in this journey, this amazing journey of exploring these wonderful state parks in Minnesota and state forests. We're gonna probably have to start including some of those though, guys. I have to start doing some state forests. The state parks are pretty addicting though once you do them. They're just so easy. They're pretty safe. And there's some other backpack sites at Glacial Lake State Park in midwestern Minnesota. Really hoping I can check some of those out relatively soon. Those are a bit of a hike, so we'll see. Might do a winter one. Might go in with mucklucks. Don't know yet. I feel like it's practical and plausible though for me, because I did that at Wild River State Park and I covered a lot of terrain there. Kind of depends on how deep the snow is and whether or not they're groomed ski trails. That's a big deal. You gotta watch out for that. Can't walk on those. And this hike, if you're just hiking in one way, it's not that big of a deal. Like if you're a backpacker, you get a little exercise slash workout, of course. Especially if you're bringing real gear and a real rucksack and not a ultra sissy light. Figuring if I let the ego and the rhetoric out, it's kind of like taking a number 2. Like, you don't want to hold it in, you want to let it out, you know? Okay, so the map's actually not okay. It just updated. It updated my GPS position, the blue dot. Even though I haven't had signal here for a while, it still knows my coordinate. So this Avenza Maps app is crucial. We're a little more than halfway through this trail for the way back. Again, once we get to the entrance for this trail, I'm going to cut out this one and end the scout. Then we're going to resume where we left off for the hike, the Savanna Portage State Park hike, on the same date and time. I'm going to separate these two out. And that hike is on the Continental Divide Trail. I plan on going on the old schoolhouse trail as well. I'm gonna see if I can hit the Beaver Pond Trail, but we're losing time now because we took this detour to scout Wolf 1, which is extraordinarily worth it. I'm very glad I did. And once we exit here, we are going to be approaching Site G. And that's kind of on our way back. So we might actually take that route instead of finishing off the Continental Divide Trail. Instead of finishing that off, heading towards Lake Shumway, we're gonna go on our pre-planned route with orange here. See if we can see Site G. See if we can see Site D as well. Those are booked. They're probably occupied, but we might get lucky. I don't think we will, because we're pushing our luck. Once you start asking for too much and too much and too much, you start getting let down and let down. But it's okay. Anything we don't do, it's a potential explorative venture in the future. I always got an option. And there's a Site K over here, Lake Shumway. We're definitely not going to check that one out. But G and D, and this wolf trail is it's relatively flat. I mean, there is a little up and down, but it's on the list of easy trails, that's for sure. Now we got about 10% of this trail left before we reach the entrance for this trail. It's the Wolf Lake Trail at the intersection of the Continental Divide Trail and the Savanna Portage Trail. All right, so this is the entrance for the Wolf Lake Trail. So the Savanna Portage Trail, that's probably a good trail, but we're going to hold off on that one. It's going to take time, that'd be another day. Continental Divide Trail, which we just came from, continues this way. But I want to go this way to see if we can get to Site G, backpack Site G. There's a really good chance that it's occupied, but I just kind of just want to take the risk. It'll be okay either way. That was a really good scout of Wolf 1. I'm really proud. I'm really glad that we accomplished that. That's pretty cool. We gotta get to the point here, so it should be this way based on the map. We can do this real quick. There's something down there. There it is. D&G campsites. We're at G right here. Right here. And the first one is G. Okay, so that one said it was open on the sign up here, but it was definitely occupied. We get a good look at the trail end though. You kind of see the basic layout of it as well. Yeah, it did say all the sites were booked. It says, I don't know why it says open. It's kind of weird. Okay, so that was just a partial kind of a look, a glance. I'm gonna check out D up here. And this one is probably going to be occupied as well, but you never know. Sometimes people, they can't they might be traveling several hours from wherever they are to get here. Well, sometimes people, they can't even show up till after the sunset. Sometimes they can show up early, like I can do sometimes. This is showing me a weird position on the map now all of a sudden. I might have fiddled with the map too much without having a signal. Now it's a little wonky. So if you are in an area with no signal and you're relying on this map, you might not want to cancel out of the app. Just leave it open in map mode and just turn it off, then turn it on. But don't exit out of it and use other apps to ensure that your GPS stays as accurate as possible. Well, this is kind of reminds me of Square Lake Park in Washington County. The trees here. This is a somewhat steep incline. So D should be up here to the right. Maybe high winds or something, I don't know. Not sure what will cause that. Not sure if I got this. Okay. There we go. I don't like how it says open. And there's a clip here, like you'd put a clip there. So I don't know what that's all about. Alright, so that one is definitely occupied as well. So, just kind of quick look at the little area here in the trail end. It's kind of cool, so I'll keep these in the hike and just kind of give you a taste of what scouts are like a little bit within the hike. So we're going to continue on our previously scheduled. I was going to continue on the Continental Trail and go this way, which would have been a detour from our path. But instead of doing that, I decided to continue on our regularly scheduled route to see if we could see site G and D, which were both denied, which is fine. So now we just stay on our regularly scheduled trail, and we're going to check out this Beaver Pond Trail loop. Really small, half-mile loop. Ever since I first saw the entrance, the sign for the entrance of this trail when I first scouted here, I believe it was in November of 2023. I always wanted to check it out. And when I came back to camp here in October of 2024, I was just kind of tired and it was late in the day and it just wasn't really practical to go for a hike. So today might be the day. We'll go from here down here to the infamous Beaver Pond Trail. And from there we might just actually cut over to the Esker Trail if possible. I'm gonna see if we can cut through here, which might be a big no-no. Maybe we should just say no to that and head on over to the I don't like taking roads though, so we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like. So in my head I'm thinking go this way, but that's not the way to go. Our route says to go this way, do the Beaver Pond Trail, and then come back, and then go this way to head back. So we might just end up doing that for the sake of practicality. Still gonna take kind of long strides for the sake of daylight, but I'm gonna try to take it a little easier and not move as quickly. Try to cut back on the sweat. Now we're kind of back on track anyways from our detours. That was kind of exciting. Real happy we got that wolf one in there though. I really wanted to check that one out. Because the other two, we were just kind of getting greedy and just seeing if we can get away with it. But based on what I've seen, like where they're at and walking into them, I'm not too interested in them. That might change if I get in there and look around. But I'm more interested in the wolf one. That thing looks cool, man. Hey. I don't think that was a state park provided cart. I think they brought their own cart. It'd be nice to get a decent cart that was like practical and like you could fold it up, but it had good wheels, but it didn't take up a lot of space in the vehicle. You know, just in case. But you know, I ruck in, so that's almost sacrilegious. So we got decent sunlight for another almost 2 hours. So we're cutting it kind of short. I kind of wanted to get back to camp and set everything up and try to film the dressing up of my winter version chest rig. I got a chest rig that I plan on using in the wintertime specifically. So essentially November through April, somewhere in there in that time frame. And the one I'm wearing now will be mainly May through October, roughly. Maybe mid-October to mid-May would be the winter one, something like that. It's just good to rotate the gear so you're not just always leaning on one piece, and then except for the ruck, I make the exception on that. But the chest rig specifically, and get different colors for the winter season. Wow, it looks smoky or foggy or something here. Oh, a car just drove through the dirt road. All right. Looks like we will have to hit a little bit of road here. Yeah, this is it. This is where I saw the sign. No, it isn't. Oh, this is where you park for D&G, right here. Oh, okay. Okay. Right by C on the map. D&G parking. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to do a little bit of road walking here, which I'm not a fan of. But this will take us to the Beaver Pond Trail entrance. I don't know, I don't want to push it. After the Beaver Pond Trail loop, we'll probably just hop back on this road and just walk the road till we get to the Black Spruce Trail, and then go back that way and meet up almost where we left off from that site D. Be about a quarter mile from site D, and resume that trail where I pointed towards where we plan on returning. We'd resume on that trail. Yeah, this looks like it might be it right here. That grass gets nice and bright from the sun. Now this is the moment. From November 2023 to now, late August 2025. This moment in time, today's the day. Just gotta see that sign. There it is. Oh, we finally arrived. We finally did it, man. We finally did it. We've been on a lot of adventures since that moment. And the picture looks a lot like this one. I think it does. Ever since I saw this sign. Something about the word beaver. I'm not being funny either. Beaver Creek Valley State Park. Actually, I'm camping there next week, ironically. 1 week from today. Going back there. I believe it's site 37. Which they call a walk-in site, but it really isn't. It's a drive-in site. Alright, we're gonna stay to the right and come all the way around and back. When we were on that main road, we were walking in the opposite direction of the main campground. Once we entered the road, if we took a left, we would have been headed towards the campground by Lake Shumway. And there's like maybe 1 or 2 sites open. That place is packed. So we probably got the best site in the whole park tonight. Kind of shocked the Friday was open. It's almost like the group that booked it Saturday and on, they just weren't able to do a Friday with everybody in the group. So they said, we'll just start at Saturday, and then nobody wanted to just do a Friday one night. But I'm a really big one night guy when it comes to camps. One and done. It's almost like I'm in a modality of heaven right now. And I don't think this is a lake, it's just a pond. It's a big pond though. I think limnology is the science where you would know why it's a pond rather than a lake, but I'm not sure. Not give you a better opportunity. Pileated woodpecker. Good spot for a Noka. That over there. Look, Y2K, year 2000. The late 90s leading up to that. You can see the count in the 86 and 90s. Y2K was a big deal. They ended up being nothing. But 2001 was the big deal. That might have been the real start of the millennium. Whoo! Pretty bouncy. This one's a little more serious too, as far as what they're over. Yeah, just looking at that water, I get thirsty. Oh, this is my favorite part of the hike so far. This trail is just a short and sweet trail, and it's my favorite one so far. So and it's right off the road, the main road. I would highly recommend it. It's not too far of a hike down the road from the main campground either. So this part of the trail might not be for everybody right here. It's definitely for me. Whew. The air here is really fresh and healthy. I can just tell. So this trail is a little more awesome and a little more challenging than I was thinking it would be. All good things. Just inhaling this air just makes me feel like my brain is healing. Which I'm sure it would take a lot of healing to get that thing back up. Whew. This one looks a little different than what I've seen. Let's see what it says. Northern red oak. July 8th, 2022 when I got that one. '22 was the year when I really started getting out here in the parks. '21 was just kind of local parks in the suburbs, just kind of practicing. And then 2022 started hitting the state parks. So 2020 was kind of like year zero for me. 2021 was like year one, etc. It's like I was born in 80, so 2020 I was 40. So I began experiencing life in 4D. And the dust from the dirt road right alongside here, a vehicle driving down it. It looks kind of like the pollution, the wildfire smoke we've been seeing throughout the years. A lot this summer though, but this is just dust from the dirt road. When we ever see something like this haze, this mist, all it should ever be is dust from a dirt road. It shouldn't be anything else. Oh. This path, you kind of have to, your feet have to be slanted at all times when you're walking on it. That takes a toll on you. It makes blisters occur quicker, hot spots on the feet. Could twist an ankle. So far during this hike, it tried twisting my ankle twice. It just happened a second ago. And earlier, it happened earlier on in the hike. You wouldn't know where, but I took a mental note of it. Just tried right there too. This one looks a little different than what I've seen. It says butter gills, but not sure. I don't want to go too quick, but I got to keep that daylight in mind. I don't want to, so I can't go too slow. Yeah, if you're an older person that's not used to hiking, this might not be the best trail for you. Just because of all the twists, the rocks and the roots, but this is my favorite trail here so far. It's at like a constant slant though. It reminds me a lot of the scouting that I did in the winter with the snow. Your feet are almost always slanted. It really takes a toll on them. Strengthens them too. When you rest later that night, you sleep really well. So far I really don't have any hot spots on my feet because I wear the right foot gear, use the right socks, the right insoles, the right size boots, walk the right way. All right, here we are. There's a chipmunk. Outstanding. Super. Finally did it. Finally did it. I wasn't sure how long it would take, if I would ever actually be able to hike this trail. Today's the day. You know, last Labor Day weekend I was at Moose Lake State Park, and that was a really awesome one. Stayed at one of the walk-in sites. Had a really good hike there. Pretty private there too. This one might top it though. It's pushing it already, I could tell. It wants to. From then to now. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Oh, I got some rock action. Beaver Pond Trail. Alright, I don't want to backtrack, even though I don't like walking the road. There is a esker trail right along here. I just don't know how practical it is to get to it. We'll keep our eyes over here if we see an opening, but we're going to stay on the road. Just keep our eyes peeled. Oh, more trail parking. Yeah, this campground is packed tonight. Yeah, last year I stayed here. I think I said it was October, mid-October, and it was pretty packed then too. But I actually heard someone snoring in a nearby campsite, and it was pretty brutal. Yeah, so this road might be pretty trafficy. Ooh. 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 You know, nothing that gets towed by a vehicle is ultra light. I don't care what the marketing says. It is not ultra light. If you're towing a little house, that's super heavy, whatever it is. So once this road curves a little bit, it'll get closer to the esker trail on our left here. But there's some topography here, which means there's elevation, but there's a lot of bush in here, man. Yeah, hiking the roads is pretty brutal. Yeah, so we're getting ready for September, and we got about another 2 weeks of heat. Then we're gonna start dipping down, and after about during the second week of October, we're gonna start changing to our winter modality for our tent and for our sleep system. So just add the tent, add another layer on it to cover up the mesh, some more fabric, and then sleep system, we're gonna bust out 2 sleeping bags, a patrol bag, and then a winter bag with the bivvy. Yeah, so the Esker Trail is relatively close to where we are right here. That bush is crazy though. Yeah, I don't even want to try to deal with that. It just looks insane. Yeah, so we're kind of far off. We gotta get moving here. Whew. All right, so we've been on the road at that leads from the park office to the main campground. And now we're about to pop on the Black Spruce Trail. So there's the Esker Trail that we were walking along parallel to, that I didn't want to risk traveling through the thick bush to try to find. So we would have came out here. So the Black Spruce Trail should be just up here, according to the map. And we're heading towards the park office in that direction on this road here. Now this Black Spruce Trail does meander kind of back from the direction we really want to be heading. But it'd be more scenic than walking down a road all the way back to the camp. Oh, do not enter. This is a dump station. There should be a Black Spruce Trail up here. That should be. All right, there we go. Now we probably could have came on the other side actually. Okay, well now we know. Alright, so I didn't plan on taking this trail, but we did a little bit of ad hocking during this hike. Now we get to check this trail out. Black Spruce Trail. So this, we'll go up this way. We just came from over here and went this way on the road. Now we're gonna go this way and then meander this way, and then hop on that old schoolhouse trail, which is where we were earlier before we broke off in a continental divide. Then we're gonna go back over to the group camp for the night. I'm still proud of that Wolf 1 Scout. And that group camp Scout was pretty good too. It better have been, I paid for it. 48 hours ago, none of that was on the docket. It wasn't even planned. But once I saw how packed Schoolcraft State Park had become since I originally booked it a couple months ago, and I have a scout of that campground, so if you check that out you can see how relatively close the sites are to each other. But with the body cam it kind of pushes things out, so in real life everything is actually closer than it appears in the body cam. So it would have been crazy. And all in all, it's still less than $100. So some people pay more for that for a night in a motel. With bed bugs and roaches. So I left the vehicles at the group camp and I reserved it, and I put my reservation in the windshield next to the vehicle permit sticker. And I already had a discussion with the park warden, so they're aware that I'm here. And I got 3 cams in the vehicle, kind of keeping an eye on everything. But almost twisted my ankle there, but too experienced for that to happen. Haha. If something were to happen to my vehicle, that was stupid. With involving the rake, aka a meth head, or something like that. Smells really good here, like pine. I have another cam, a trail cam, off on a tree, kind of watching everything else, so kind of gives me a lot of peace of mind, really. I'm sure there's other cameras in the park, like in the entrance area specifically, so if anything does happen, there will more than likely be video evidence. So the peace of mind that that delivers is probably more than what would actually be delivered if something does happen. Yeah, the sun's gonna start setting, it's gonna start getting dark. I do have a Streamlight flashlight on my person at all times. It's just part of my EDC everyday carry. Just kind of a tacky acronym, but it's true, that's what it is. I also have a light on the body cam itself, which is relatively weak, but in a very dark situation, it has a decent amount of light. It still makes things creepy. And then I also have the beloved phone, the flashlight on the phone. There's 3 lights. Which is probably going to start getting dim here. I still got about an hour before it starts getting a little serious. But that being said, I have enough lighting and everything's charged enough to the point where I'd make it back. Well, if nothing else fruity happens. After the air's cooling down a little, it's probably going to get pretty chilly tonight. So I do have the summer modality tent, which is just a classic tent with the mesh and the rainfly. And then I have the MSS bivy with a wool blanket. The wool blanket is important. Instead of having the sleeping bags with the MSS, it's more important to have the wool blanket in the summer because of the wicking away sweat factor. The sleeping bag or the wool blanket will provide similar amount of warmth, so you're going to be hot either way. But the sleeping bag does not absorb moisture, so you'll be really sticky and wet, slimy. Whereas the wool blanket will wick it away and help it evaporate. Well, it's humid, so it really doesn't really evaporate that well, but it wicks it away and spreads it out, provides more surface area for it to dissipate. And yes, it is warm, and that's slightly uncomfortable. That is much better than feeling slimy and wet. So the trick is to just don't move a lot. Just sit still. The more you move, the warmer you get. All right, good. We're about halfway through the black spruce trail. So this trail's going a little quicker than I thought it might, which is what we need right now. And then we're gonna take this over. I'm not sure what this trail's gonna be called. We're gonna take it over to, I think it's the south spur of the Continental Divide Trail. We'll take that to the old schoolhouse trail. And there might be a backpack site opportunity on the way back, just as we reach the area where we kind of started off in and went the other way. We'll connect the dots there, but at one map it made it look like there was one there. Well, sometimes with different maps you get different information. Sometimes the physical maps in the locations, they're outdated. There have been updates to the park and the maps just aren't updated. So that's why I usually trust the Avenza map on the Avenza Maps app when I have the two side by side and they have conflicting data. I'll trust the Avenza one over the physical one for that reason, just based on the inconsistencies I've encountered and the accuracy of the Avenza map over the physical ones that seem to have not been updated. Those are really nice. So I think I've walked approximately 6 miles, maybe over six to 7 since we started. Wow. Wow, that is a massive birch. Wow. That is crazy. I think that might not be a birch. That is massive. Wow. That was probably crazy when that fell. Wow, looks like a few of them fell. Yeah, pretty soon we're gonna run out of daylight as the days get shorter, so I'm not gonna be able to do hikes on these camps during the winter, because by the time I get there it'll be dark and I don't really want to do nighttime hiking, especially in the winter. I've done a couple night hikes and they are creepy, man. They are creepy. And you just don't really see much anything. There's really nothing, you can't really film anything because it's just like everything's dark. I mean, I guess you could light things up, but it's just, I don't know. It's just creepier. I feel like I'm on edge the whole time. It's less safe, especially if you're doing a trail you've never been on. Like, I've never been on this trail and I can just kind of cruise through it. But at night, that's another ball game. This trail at night will look insane. Like this turn right here, it would look terrifying. You have a light on it and unless you're really used to nighttime hikes. But I haven't done nearly enough of them. Just maybe, I think maybe did 2 of them. At Charles Lindbergh. I did a partial one at Fort Ridgely, and I did one at Big Stone Lake. All of them are, man, the one at Charles Lindbergh and the one at Fort Ridgely are just creepy. Fort Ridgely has already got a kind of a creepy vibe at night, especially on the other side of the creek, on the other side from where the main campground is, where the walk-ins, this area where the walk-in sites are. I don't know, man, I get a weird vibe from over that direction. It might be the history, I don't know. So sunset is at 7:57 allegedly, so we got about 1 hour. I presume we'll be back within 45 minutes from now. So that's about 7:45. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to dress up the chest rig on this one. I'm gonna have to save that till Beaver Creek. Ugh. Because I really don't want to do that at night in the dark. I want to be able to make out the colors of the paracord and the elastic straps I'm using. Whew. Too close. Whew. Oh, wow, it's like a roller coaster. All right, we're almost towards the intersection here. Okay. Yeah, so tonight I'm gonna have probably mushroom stroganoff. Depending on how hungry I still am, might do a peach cobbler, something new I ain't tried yet. It's all freeze-dried foods. I'm gonna pound a ton of distilled water, of course. And unwrapped Starburst minis, favorites. I wish they had the sours, but I can't find those anymore. Yeah, I did a food review recently on the Pringles 7-layer dip flavor potato crisps. And when I got them originally, they were on sale for like $2 and something. But I saw them the other day on clearance for like $1.12. It's like they're selling them out. They're not going to have them anymore. They're clearing out the shelf. There's one left. I was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. So I picked it up. I copped it. I'm stacking that bad boy. I mean, I got a bunch of the loaded baked potato ones. I got 3 of those. They were on sale too, on clearance. Same price. Those are pretty good too. Black Spruce Trail. Okay. So just down there is Site D, where we saw that site was occupied, and we went around to the Beaver Pond Trail and then up the road. So we're here, and that Site D was here, G was here, and Beaver Pond is here. So now we're gonna go this way, and we're gonna pop on Old Schoolhouse Trail and work our way up. And this is where we veered off last time and went this way when we started. We're gonna meet there and then wind back around down to the group camp on Savanna Lake to start the camp. And the clock is ticking. We gotta try to get there by 7:45. So we got about 39 minutes. Can we do it? It doesn't matter if I'm late. We'll see. It's a flex goal. So far I got in 12.4 miles for the day. I think I started off after work and I got here, so it was about 4.5 mile roughly. So we're at about 8 miles for the hike, and not to brag, Sally Suntala, but I'm at about 27,000 steps for the day, and I probably got about 10,000 to go. Still no blisters, no hot spots on the feet. It's all a byproduct of good foot management, good foot care. I'll do a video one day if I'm allowed to, on as if life allows me to, on how I do my boots, how I line them up. Everyone's different. I guarantee I sweat, my whole body including my feet, I sweat way more than the average person for some reason. So my feet and my armpits are just constantly soaked. So I'd say it's more challenging for me to keep my feet dry than it is most people, if I were to kind of guess. But it is an assumption. But I'll literally just sit and not do anything, and my feet are just sweating. I think it's ridiculous. So I always have wool socks on, always. It's always wicking away the moisture and regulating the temperature. And I bathe them in like 91% alcohol, whatever the 90% is. Wow. That looks a lot like autumn. Here it comes. All is autumn. I'm just running a little late on time because of the detour we took to scout Wolf 1, which was worth it. We'll be able to do it. We'll be able to get back in a practical time. Still kind of shocked we were able to weasel that in. We would have got the other two as well if they weren't occupied. That is crazy. That's a good job. Oh. But that's kind of as far as I want to take the scouts here at this state park, at least for now. There's still that other backpack site over by the Shumway Lake. Kind of across the lake from the campground somewhat. That I'm interested in. It's probably noisier though. There's a camper cabin also in the Lake Shumway campground, the main campground. And I'm pretty sure Stinkleberry Farmer stayed there once. So I already got my Halloween camp booked this year. And that might change, but I just kind of had a moment of inspiration and it just seemed like, so I had those moments and I just make the move and I book it, and usually it works out. So I can't say where that's at because I don't want to be ambushed. This is Anderson Road Trail. And we don't want to turn here. Stay straight here. There's Krishna. Right now Krishna is walking on the waters of Savanna Lake and Wolf Lake. But I don't think I'll make it back to the camp in time to see the sun setting on Savanna Lake, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. You gotta give and take. So we gave that in exchange for the Wolf 1 Scout, which the Wolf 1 Scout, though the sunset would be beautiful, has more value. The Wolf 1 Scout will have more value to more people. Okay, so I know that closed trail isn't the one we're supposed to take, is it? So this is Anderson Road Trail. Okay, it's not the Continental Divide Trail bottom spur. This is considered Anderson Road Trail. We take this to Old Schoolhouse Trail. And then we're on our way home. We're heading home to Krishna, the sun. So first thing I do when I get back to camp is put the ruck on the picnic table, down some water, some distilled water specifically. I might start boiling some water for dinner and start setting up the tent and determine whether or not I'm going to do the chest rig dress up, which I'm not sure. Something was trying to make it so I couldn't see that. I had to work for it, so there we go. Yep, so September's all lined up. We got a Beaver Creek Valley State Park, which I've been there before several times. This will be my third camp there. I plan to do a hike there as well. And then after that will be Cascade River State Park. And after that one, I'm going to do a scout of Judge C.R. Magny State Park Campground. Plan a trip there. And I think I'm scouting two or three state forests around there too, but I'd have to check my notes. I can't remember off the top of my head. And that's in the northeast part of the state. Beaver Creek Valley's in the southeast part of the state. And then I'm going to head back to the southeast part of the state near Beaver Creek Valley to Forestville Mystery Cave State Park. Do a camp there. Probably a hike. No scouts are planned there, at least right now. And then the one after that, I'm going to go back up to the North Shore, the northeast part of the state, to the long-awaited Temperance River State Park. And then I'm going to do a scout of Cloquet Valley State Forest. I think it's the Indian Lake Campground. And earlier this year, I think in the spring, like in May, there's a huge wildfire in Brimson, Minnesota, at Camp House or something like that. And it literally originated like just a few miles away from the Indian Lake Campground in Cloquet Valley State Park. And you would not believe it, but it's like that little campground was protected, and the fire went like almost around it. And I think in the dunce mayor, he called in like National Guard for help or something. No, it's the dunce. It was the dunce governor. They're all dunces, but it was the Elmer Fudd hump called in the National Guard help. There's some chipmunks up there. Yeah, the Camp House wildfire started there, but it didn't touch that campground. And that's one of the few state forest campgrounds I haven't scouted yet. That, in my opinion, is a miracle. I'm looking forward to scouting that bad boy. That's been a long time coming on that one. And then I think that's all four in September. And the first one in October is I'm going back to Maplewood State Park. Going back to the Knoll Loop Campground. I was there a year prior, last October, Site 55. And a lot of people probably wouldn't like that site, but that is for me, that is a cool site, man. That was a really good camp. The only annoying part was there's a dunce 20-something female running her D-sucker in a site adjacent to mine. So it's always a buzzkill. I can't just, like the 20-something female can't just camp alone and read a book quietly. You know what I mean? Like, I guess there are some that do that. There was one at, when I was at Glendalough State Park camping there. There was what seemed to be a 20-year-old female in a campsite near mine, and she was just quiet by herself. It looked like she was reading. She didn't have a dog. But ironically, in a site across from hers was probably the most annoying, horrific dog. Like this weaselly poodle screech that would never shut up. That's kind of cool. I like that rattlesnake sound that the red squirrels make. Oh, speaking of which, I got some good footage of chipmunks and a red squirrel at Interstate State Park. And that one is actually being published 2 days from the date on this body cam. 2 days. That's my next one coming out. And that's a pretty good one. There's some good footage in there. All right. All right. Wow, this wasn't meant for the short. This is the tallest map I've ever seen. I feel like the little people of Killarney Woods. McGregor, Minnesota. McGregor. The McGregor clan. Whew. Alright, this way we go. Old schoolhouse trail. Now right by a road here. These are probably people going to the guest house, because this is the road that leads to the group camp where I'm camping tonight, which is really weird to be camping in a group camp all by myself. I know Joe Candy Adventures did that once. He might have did it a few times. I'm pretty sure he did it at Charles A. Lindbergh State Park, though. He did a group camp there. And I think that was kind of like in the winter time. It was colder. And another one I'm thinking of doing this year is Frontenac State Park, going back there. I've been there many times. That was one of my first big hikes in 2022 at state parks. But I want to go back there before they shut off most of the loops in the campground for the winter. They still keep all of it open until like November-ish, late November, Thanksgiving. And then in like December, they only have the first like 1 or 2 loops open until spring. So I want to get in there before that happens. And before I do the camp, I want to scout the Cardin campground. Really interested in checking that out. So if life allows me, I'm pretty certain that's gonna happen. That'll probably be a November one. I'm trying to get to the Judge C.R. Magny in October, because they're gonna close down after the 3rd week in October. So I got the 2nd or the 3rd week to get in there before they shut it down. That'll solidify my completion of camping at every campable state park in the North Shore in Minnesota. Then I'm gonna start drilling hard on the Northwest, put a bow on it. I only got like 6 state parks left to camp at. I know it's unlikely, but I really hope I don't die before that happens. I hope I can pull that off, man. It should happen in 2026 if everything continues. But oftentimes when you get close to something, or all you need is a little bit more time, you can run out of it. So just gotta be cautious. Lake Bronson. I'm saving that one for last. Lake Bronson State Park. And mainly just because it's the furthest one away, literally, from all of them. From where I'm starting to go, from where I live. That's always been the furthest one. So that's the crown jewel. And when that's wrapped up, I'm gonna try to polish off the 4 state rec areas and then start hitting every state forest campground. Unless I get sick of doing it. That could happen too. I might just want to stay indoors and drink lemonade. Yeah, we still got a ways to go on this trail, so we won't make the sunset. I'm still contemplating whether I'm gonna do a Split Rock Lighthouse or a Tetagooch card-in camp this year. We'll see. In the George Crosby Manitou, it's looking unlikely that I'm gonna go back there this year. But that's definitely one place that I want to invest some time in. There's a lot of sites there to scout, and can't really do them all in one day. I mean, I'd have to be really on point, and all the stars would have to line up. But people are going to be in the spots. Something will happen. So my plan is to do a couple chunks of it here and there, and then like playlist them all together into one big picture. It'd be cool to maybe do different times of the year too, so you get kind of a taste of the different seasons. I got too many other scouts to do in that area when I do the Judge C.R. Magny and Cascade River and Temperance. I got too many other ones lined up to work that in. But once those are done, that'll free up the slot. And then when I do camps at like the state forest there, then I can pivot and scout more of the George Crosby. They're kind of like stepping stones. You scout one and you camp it, scout another, you camp it, scout another. That was my game plan early on. Because I didn't like the idea of just rolling the dice and picking a site. I kind of wanted to know what it looked like. So I found out a practical way to kind of travel for it, figure it out, and map it out in a practical way, so I'm really not going out of my way. I'm always scouting a place that's near a place that I would be camping at anyways. It's worked out really well. Minnesota's a perfect state for that kind of a venture. Now these work boots that I'm hiking in, they work really well. And I've had to already have walked literally over 1,000 miles in them just at work since I started wearing them. Quite literally. So about 25, 30 miles a week. And it's almost a year, so. But I got to get some more boots. I got to get another pair of boots for the winter specifically, a special version just for the winter, and then another general hiking pair like fall, spring, and summer. The winter ones though, I'm going to get a taller shaft height and heel. And I still got the mucklucks, but I'm gonna get some winter boots too, the general hiking for when, just the general purpose. But I'm gonna keep the mucklucks on hand in the vehicle, because when I was scouting the backpack sites and the Vermilion Ridge campground at Lake Vermilion Sudan Underground Mine State Park, oh man, I really wish I had them. But there was snow on my shoes and in my feet. The wool socks took it well though. But I kind of learned the hard way on that one. All right, so we're about halfway done with this trail. Once this trail is done, we're a hop, skip, and a jump away from camp. And the sun's gonna set soon. Once I'm at camp, it don't matter if it gets dark. You know, kind of jumping back to the Halloween camp I got scheduled this year. I'm not going to say where, but there's a folklore story that there's a witch there. But if I wasn't doing that one, that wolf one looks like a good one. But even still, I couldn't do it because I got a rule where I can't camp more than once at a state park during the year, just because there's so many options. So I still couldn't come back here anyways for Halloween. But I'm gonna keep that card up my sleeve for the future. It was good to have a lot of options in the back of your mind. It's really cool to like just think about where you want to go, and you can just use your mind to visualize the different places you've scouted, and you can just see it. Hiking in, camping, setting it up, all in your mind. It's kind of a game changer. I mean, it saves a lot of time and hassle. Because a lot of time is wasted in going to a spot, and then you have to account for things you didn't think of. So you have to adjust. Sometimes those adjustments can add up to hours. That's precious time you don't really have. There's a guy called the Prepared Airman on YouTube, and this guy, oftentimes he's just doing a lot of commercials for products, and it's really annoying because he's got a lot of knowledge he brings to the table. I wish he'd just focus on more knowledge and less being an influencer for products. But that aside, I learned stuff from him, and I learned about the full tank tactical chest rig and how he puts a water bottle at the bottom of it. And I'm thinking of maybe trying that, because it would be nice to have some water with me on these hikes. Like this one is a good example in the Scenic State Park. We're having some water on me. You can go 3 days without water, but I don't like going more than 3 hours without water, to be honest. And you really shouldn't. It's not really healthy. Yeah, Full Tank Tactical, they make another chest rig, a bigger one than the one I use, called the Woodsman Pack. So I don't know, in like a year or so, maybe further down the road, I might test one of those out, see how practical it is. But you just kind of you lighten your load, you heavy up your load, you lighten your load, you heavy your load. You got to be modular mindset based on what you're doing. And the more you do different scenarios and prepare for them, the more you adapt to the situation and you're prepared for it specifically. And that takes time, iterative improvements. It can be a lot of rough moments where you get too much gear, you don't have enough. Like I didn't bring any rain over gear this time, so if it rained, I'd get wet. But because I didn't bring the rain over gear, it would have been a perfect opportunity to bring a water bottle, because I had that real estate and that weight that I can still allow. Because my load's a little too light right now, to be honest. Yep, and I've had no signal here the whole time. Alright, so we're not gonna get back by 7:45. But we'll get back by 8, it looks like. So that was a good stretch goal. Yeah, so we made some decisions on this hike. We veered from our plan a little, kept it practical, yet ambitious. We were able to weasel in a scout, and we attempted 2 others, which we were successful in the attempts. I mean, technically we've been there, you know. We just couldn't see what it looked like on the inside, obviously, so we don't know how we'd set it up, but even still, if I were to come back here like next year maybe, there's still one spot in the main campground I want to try. I forget the number. It might be in the upper 30s. It's towards the end of the loop. It's one of the higher numbers towards the end of the loop. And then if I camp there, then I try to do a scout of the backpack site on the other side of the lake of Shumway. And I do have a full scout of the main Savanna campground, but no, it's not Savanna. I don't think it is. I'm getting tired. Well, they just call it campground. It was probably Lake Shumway campground. Yeah, it's right here. I think it's 60, actually. 60 or 58. One of those two. There's a camper cabin up there. There's a camp there, and then hop on this trail in Shumway and so there's a campground here. Hop on the Shumway trail. There's that other site K over here. The Lake Shumway trail. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep good at night, more than likely. You know, even though I'm not next to a lot of human beings, there could still be like a loud, noisy tree creaking, rubbing against another tree. There could be a small animal being antagonized by another animal. Those are pretty brutal. Oh, look how plush that is. Wow. So the reds are definitely my favorite for the colors. I wish spring and fall lasted longer. I wish the color foliage lasted longer, and the lilacs lasted longer, extra 2 weeks. Oh, it goes so quick. All right. All right, so we're back where we started here before we veered off earlier. It's a successful hike. There might have been some not so interesting parts, and I did a lot of rambling, but we took a good look of it. It's a long time overdue for a hike at this park for me. That Beaver Pond Trail, though, we did it. Whew. Yep, so today before this hike I did the scout of the group camp, which is where I'm camping tonight. You should check that out. And then during this hike, did a scout of the Wolf 1 backpack campsite. So we're going to wind it down here. Well, thanks for tagging along. Thanks for being my counselor. Hopefully I helped you too. Now this I can't recall. Okay, where are we? Okay, yeah, this way. Oh, that physical map, it said winter map on it. So that might be the slight differences sometimes, because I'm looking at the summer map specifically here on the phone. I do have the winter map one, but obviously I'm choosing the summer map right now. But that physical map said winter map. So these are probably groomed ski trails, I would assume. I got reprimanded by a warden, well, park ranger, February of 2025 this year, because I didn't know about those. I was doing a scout of the Bearhead Lake campground, and I just seen this groomed path, and I thought what it looked like to me, honestly, was like a dad pulling his kid in a sled. That's honestly what I thought it was when I was looking at it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, it's kind of cool that someone pulled someone in a sled here so I could make walking easier. And then, of course, hindsight, oh, I'm that guy, I'm the idiot. And it just felt so stupid. But she didn't find me or anything like that. She probably could have. But I guess it's literally breaking the law. Literally. But I probably do at least 30 camp trips a year at state parks in Minnesota. I have for the last 3 years. So I'm pouring money into it. So especially on this one. Whew. Yeah, this one ended up costing me almost a full day's worth of hard work. But it was worth it. Well, it's not over yet. It will be worth it. It already is worth it. Whew. All right, we did it. Oh, the sun is just setting. Wow. I might make it. That's crazy. Alright, so 14.2 miles minus 4.2, so about 10, a little over 10 miles. 31,000 steps for the day. Yeah, that's right, Sally. 31,000 steps. 31,000. I gotta try to get this shot. Yeah, so it's been a hike at Savanna Portage State Park. Thanks for taking a look. Take care. high intensity interval training. Without the skinny jean rep and horrible millennial whoops. Oh, we just missed it. It was a good effort. Still a good effort. Oh, it's an empty campground on Labor Day weekend. Close enough. See you in the next one.